DAD Automation, your automation partner.
Are you new to PLC programming? Many beginners make simple mistakes that can cause machine faults, downtime, and hours of troubleshooting. In this video, I will share some important PLC programming tips and common mistakes every beginner should avoid. One of the most common mistakes beginners make in PLC programming is using unclear tag names. For example, instead of naming a tag motor_start_PB, some programmers use names like M1, bit5, or test_tag. At first, this may seem faster, but later it becomes very difficult to understand the program. Imagine opening the same PLC program after 6 months. Would you remember what M1 or B23 does? Meaningful tag names make your program easier to read, troubleshoot, and maintain. Good examples include motor_start_PB, conveyor_run_command, tank_level_high, emergency_stop. These names clearly describe the function of each tag. Remember, PLC programs are often maintained by different engineers. Clear tag names save time, reduce mistakes, and make troubleshooting. Another very common mistake in PLC programming is forgetting to comment your program. When you are writing logic, everything may seem clear at that moment. But after a few days, or when another engineer looks at your program, it becomes very difficult to understand what each rung is doing. For example, a simple coil like M0 or M1 does not explain anything. Instead, always add comments such as motor start command, conveyor running status, or alarm reset condition. Good comments help you quickly understand the purpose of each section of code. They also make troubleshooting much faster during machine faults. In real industrial environments, multiple engineers may work on the same PLC program. Without comments, even a simple change can become risky and time-consuming. So remember, always write clear and meaningful comments while programming. It is a small habit, but it makes a huge difference in professional PLC development. One of the most dangerous mistakes in PLC programming is ignoring safety interlocks. In industrial automation, safety is not an optional feature. It is a mandatory design requirement. A safety interlock is a condition that prevents a machine from operating when it is unsafe. This includes emergency stop circuits, guard door switches, overload relays, pressure switches, and sensor-based fault conditions. For example, imagine a conveyor running while a guard door is open. Without an interlock, the conveyor will continue running and can cause serious injury. That is why every motor, cylinder, or actuator must have a proper safety condition in series with its control logic. The emergency stop circuit should always have the highest priority. It must immediately de-energize outputs, regardless of PLC program state or running cycle. You should also design fault conditions carefully. For example, if a motor overload trips, the PLC should stop the motor and generate an alarm message for the operator. Another important point is that safety signals should not depend only on software logic. Critical safety functions should also use hardware-based safety circuits whenever possible. Beginners often make the mistake of writing only basic start and stop logic without considering what happens in abnormal conditions like sensor failure, power loss, or communication errors. A professional PLC program always assumes that something can go wrong, and it is designed to handle those failures safely. Remember, a good automation system is not just one that runs smoothly, but one that fails safely. Never compromise on safety interlocks, because in real industrial environments, safety always comes first. Another very common and serious mistake in PLC programming is not testing the program before downloading it to a real machine. Many beginners write the logic and directly download it to the PLC connected to live equipment. This is very risky because even a small mistake in the program can cause unexpected machine behavior, equipment damage, or safety hazards. For example, a wrong output coil, incorrect timer setting, or missing interlock can immediately start motors or actuators without proper conditions. That is why testing is a very important step in every PLC development process. Before downloading to the actual machine, always test your program in a simulation environment if available. Software like Studio 5000, TIA Portal, or other PLC platforms provide simulation tools to check logic safely. During testing, you should carefully check all conditions such as start and stop sequences, emergency stop behavior, sensor responses, and fault conditions. Also simulate abnormal situations like sensor failure or power interruption to see how the system reacts. Another good practice is to perform step-by-step dry testing with the machine in a safe state before full operation. In industrial environments, experienced engineers never trust untested code. They always verify logic twice before downloading it to production systems. Remember, testing is not optional. It is a critical step that ensures safety, reliability, and smooth operation of the machine. A few minutes of testing can prevent hours or even days of downtime and troubleshooting. Another very common and serious mistake in PLC programming is using duplicate output coil. In PLC programming, an output coil represents a physical device like a motor, a lamp, or a solenoid. But many beginners make the mistake of using the same output address in multiple places in the program. For example, they might use the same motor output in two different rungs, thinking it will work as separate controls. But in reality, the PLC scans the program from top to bottom. The last rung that writes to that output will always override the previous ones. This creates unpredictable behavior. Sometimes the motor turns on, sometimes it turns off, and sometimes it behaves completely opposite to what you expect. This is not just a programming error, it is a serious logic design problem. To avoid this mistake, always follow a simple rule: one output address should be controlled by only one final logic coil. If multiple conditions are needed, combine them properly using internal bits, interlocks, or logic branches, but never duplicate the output coil itself. Good PLC programming is not just about making it work. It is about making it stable, readable, and safe. If you avoid duplicate output coils, your program becomes more reliable and much easier to troubleshoot. Another common mistake made by beginner PLC programmers is not handling sensor failures. Many beginners assume that sensors will always work correctly. However, in real industrial environments, sensors can become dirty, damaged, misaligned, disconnected, or simply fail over time. If your PLC program does not consider these situations, the machine may stop unexpectedly or continue operating in an unsafe condition. For example, imagine a pneumatic cylinder that moves a product from one station to another. When the cylinder extends, the PLC expects the extended position sensor to turn on. But what happens if the sensor is faulty or the cylinder gets stuck halfway? A beginner's program may keep waiting forever for the sensor signal. As a result, the machine sequence freezes and production stops. A better approach is to use a timer. After sending the extend command, start a timer. If the sensor does not activate within the expected time, generate an alarm such as cylinder failed to extend and stop the machine safely. Another example is a conveyor photoelectric sensor. If the sensor becomes stuck on because of dirt or damage, the PLC may think a product is always present. This can cause product jams and incorrect machine operation. By monitoring sensor signals and checking for abnormal conditions, you can detect problems early and provide clear fault messages to operators. Always ask yourself one question while programming: what will happen if this sensor never turns on? What will happen if it never turns off? Thinking about these failure scenarios will help you create more reliable and professional PLC programs. Remember, good PLC programmers don't just program for normal operation. They also plan for what happens when things go wrong. Another mistake that many beginner PLC programmers make is poor program organization. When starting out, it is common to put all the logic into a single routine or program file. While this may work for small projects, it quickly becomes difficult to understand and maintain as the program grows. Imagine opening a PLC program with hundreds of rungs mixed together. Motor controls, alarms, communication logic, and safety functions are all in one place. Finding a specific piece of logic can take a long time, especially during troubleshooting. A well-organized PLC program is much easier to read, modify, and maintain. Similar functions should be grouped together. For example, motor control logic can be placed in one routine, alarm handling in another routine, and communication logic in a separate routine. Clear routine names, meaningful tag names, and proper comments also help make the program easier to understand. If another engineer needs to work on the program, they should be able to quickly find the logic they are looking for. Let's take an example. Suppose a machine has 10 motors. A beginner might place all motor logic throughout the program wherever there is space. Later, when motor number 7 develops a fault, finding its logic becomes difficult. A better approach is to create a dedicated motor control section where all motor-related logic is stored in a structured and consistent way. This makes troubleshooting faster and reduces the chance of mistakes when making changes. Good program organization not only saves time during maintenance but also improves the reliability of the entire system. Remember, a PLC program is not just written for today. It may be used, modified, and maintained for many years. Professional programmers know that a clean and organized program is just as important as a program that works correctly. Always organize your logic in a clear and structured manner. Your future self and every engineer who works on the system after you will thank you for it. Another common mistake made by beginner PLC programmers is forgetting to consider what happens when power is restored after a power failure. During normal operation, a machine may be running smoothly. But if the power suddenly goes off and then comes back on, how will the machine behave? If the program is not designed properly, motors may start automatically, conveyors may begin moving unexpectedly, or machine sequences may continue from an unsafe position. For example, imagine a conveyor belt carrying products when a power outage occurs. When power returns, should the conveyor start running immediately? In most cases, the answer is no. The operator should first check that the area is safe and then press the start button. Another example is a pneumatic cylinder. Suppose the cylinder was halfway through its movement when power was lost. When power returns, the PLC should not assume the cylinder is in the correct position. Instead, it should verify the actual sensor status and safely restart the sequence. Professional PLC programmers always think about startup conditions. They decide which values should be reset, which alarms should remain active, and whether operator intervention is required before restarting the machine. A good practice is to force all outputs off during startup, check all critical sensors, and require a manual start command before normal operation begins. Remember, a machine should not only operate safely during normal conditions. It should also recover safely after a power failure. Always ask yourself one question: what will this machine do when power comes back? If the answer is not clear, your program needs better power-up handling. Another common mistake made by beginner PLC programmers is overusing timers. Timers are very useful in PLC programming, but they should not be used as a solution for every problem. Many beginners use timers when they should be using actual feedback from sensors. While the program may appear to work at first, it can become unreliable when operating conditions change. For example, imagine a conveyor moving a product from one station to another. A beginner might assume the product always takes 5 seconds to reach the next sensor and use a timer instead of checking the sensor itself. But what happens if the conveyor speed changes, the product gets stuck, or the load becomes heavier? The timer will still expire after 5 seconds, even though the product may not have reached its destination. This can cause machine faults, incorrect operation, or product damage. A better approach is to use the sensor signal to confirm that the product has actually arrived. Sensors provide real feedback, while timers only make assumptions. Timers should be used when a delay is truly needed, such as allowing a motor to start, filtering sensor noise, or creating a short delay between machine actions. Remember, timers are useful tools, but they should not replace proper feedback from the process. Whenever possible, let the machine make decisions based on actual sensor information rather than time estimates. Another common mistake made by beginner PLC programmers is not creating proper alarm messages. Many beginners focus only on making the machine run. But when something goes wrong, the operator needs to know exactly what the problem is. Without alarm messages, troubleshooting becomes difficult and time-consuming. The machine may simply stop, leaving the operator and maintenance team guessing what caused the issue. For example, imagine a motor overload trips. If there is no alarm message, the operator may only see that the conveyor has stopped. They will then have to inspect the entire machine to find the fault. A much better approach is to display a clear alarm message such as conveyor motor overload trip. This immediately tells the operator where to look and what action may be required. The same principle applies to sensor failures, low pressure conditions, communication faults, and emergency stops. Each fault should have a meaningful alarm message that clearly describes the problem. Avoid using generic messages such as fault 001 or machine error. These messages may make sense to the programmer, but they are not helpful to operators on the factory floor. A good alarm message should tell the operator what happened and where it happened. This reduces downtime and helps maintenance personnel resolve issues much faster. Remember, a professional PLC program doesn't just control the machine. It also helps operators understand and diagnose problems when they occur.